Have you ever felt like you were giving your all, but somehow it was never enough? You stayed, you fought, you loved, but deep down you felt empty. That's not love, that's control. And the person you trusted the most, the one who promised to protect your heart, they were slowly destroying it. This is how narcissists work. They don't break you overnight. They drain you, piece by piece, until you forget who you are. But today it stops, because I'm going to expose the red flags you must never ignore. Love bombing is one of the most dangerous manipulation tactics used by narcissists. And it's often the hardest to recognize because it feels good at first. At the beginning, they come into your life like a storm, intense, passionate, and overwhelming. Within days or weeks, they're telling you how special you are, how lucky they are to have found you, and how you're the only one who truly understands them. It feels like destiny. It feels like love at first sight, but it's not love. It's control disguised as affection. This is how narcissists trap you. They don't slowly earn your trust. They demand it instantly. They shower you with attention, compliments, and promises of a perfect future together. They text you constantly. They want to see you every day. They talk about marriage, kids, or lifelong commitments far too soon. And at first, it's intoxicating. You feel chosen, desired, and seen like never before. But that's exactly the point. Narcissists use excessive love bombing to bypass your natural defenses. They know that if they move slowly, you might notice the inconsistencies in their stories, their behavior, and their intentions. So instead, they overwhelm you emotionally. They create a whirlwind where you don't have the time or space to think critically. Love bombing also creates emotional dependency. When someone constantly tells you how perfect you are, how much they need you, and how you're their soulmate, your brain starts releasing massive amounts of dopamine and oxytocin, the same chemicals connected to love and bonding. You become addicted to their validation without even realizing it. And once they have you hooked, they start to pull away. That's when the real damage begins. Suddenly, the person who once texted you 50 times a day goes silent for hours or days. The one who called you the love of their life starts criticizing you over small things. They stop giving you the affection they used to shower on you so easily. And now you find yourself chasing the high of those early days, desperately trying to get back to the version of them you first met. This is how they control you. They make you dependent on their approval and attention. They condition you to crave their love while simultaneously keeping you off balance. They manipulate your emotions so skillfully that you don't even notice you're being trapped. The danger of love bombing isn't just in the intensity, it's in the speed. Healthy relationships grow over time. Trust is earned, not demanded. But narcissists rush everything because they don't want you to have the chance to question their motives, see their patterns, or set boundaries. They overwhelm you so completely that you start believing they're the answer to every prayer you ever had. One of the clearest and most dangerous red flags of a narcissist is their complete lack of empathy. At first, they may appear caring and attentive, but as time goes on, You start noticing a pattern. Your feelings don't matter unless they serve their agenda. Your happiness, your struggles, your pain, it's all invisible to them unless it affects their ego or reputation. Narcissists view the world through one lens themselves. Every situation, every relationship, every conversation revolves around how it benefits them. They are incapable of truly putting themselves in someone else's shoes because empathy requires genuine connection. And narcissists thrive on control, not connection. When you're hurting, they might dismiss your emotions as overreacting or being too sensitive. If you confront them about something they've done to hurt you, they'll twist the narrative until you start questioning yourself instead. They may even gaslight you into believing your pain isn't real or that you're the problem for feeling it in the first place. It's not that they don't hear you. It's that they don't care unless acknowledging your feelings benefits them. For example, if showing concern makes them look like a supportive partner or friend, they'll put on a performance. But behind closed doors, they'll often mock your emotions, minimize your experiences, or change the subject entirely. Your pain becomes irrelevant unless it feeds their need for admiration or control. This lack of empathy shows up in subtle ways at first. You might notice they rarely ask how your day went unless they're setting up a comparison to highlight their own struggles. They interrupt your stories to redirect the focus back to themselves. They dismiss your successes or belittle your achievements because celebrating you would take the spotlight off of them. Over time, this emotional neglect becomes deeply damaging. You start feeling unheard, unseen, and unloved. But somehow, you blame yourself instead of them. That's exactly what narcissists want. By invalidating your feelings, they make you doubt your own reality. You begin to think, maybe I'm too emotional. Maybe I expect too much. This confusion keeps you trapped in their cycle of manipulation. And here's the deeper layer. Narcissists crave admiration, but fear vulnerability. They see empathy as weakness because it requires emotional openness, something they can't allow. To them, emotions are tools, not connections. If you're sad, they'll only care if comforting you makes them look good. If you're struggling, they might offer help, but only if it gives them leverage to control you later. This is why relationships with narcissists often feel lonely, even when you're physically together. You can pour your heart out, crying in front of them, begging them to understand your pain, and they'll stare at you with cold detachment, waiting for the moment to turn the conversation back to themselves. Your tears don't move them, unless they can use them as ammunition later. Worse still, if your pain threatens their image, they'll flip the script entirely. Instead of supporting you, they'll accuse you of playing the victim or trying to make them look bad. Your suffering becomes an inconvenience because it forces them to acknowledge someone else's feelings. And to a narcissist, that's unacceptable. This lack of empathy doesn't just affect arguments or emotional conversations. It seeps into every aspect of life. When you're sick, they might ignore your discomfort unless it disrupts their plans. When you achieve something amazing, they'll downplay it or take credit themselves. When you express boundaries, they'll ridicule them as unreasonable because your needs conflict with their desires. Eventually, you realize the harsh truth. You can't rely on them for emotional support because they don't see you as an equal human being with real feelings. To a narcissist, people are objects, tools to extract admiration, validation, and control. Your happiness is secondary. Your pain is irrelevant. Your needs are negotiable. The only thing that matters is protecting their ego and maintaining their power. Gaslighting is one of the most powerful and damaging manipulation tactics used by narcissists. And the worst part is, you often don't realize it's happening until you're already trapped. It starts slowly, subtly, like small cracks in your sense of reality. Over time, those cracks widen until you no longer trust your own mind, your memories, or even your instincts. Gaslighting is psychological warfare. It's when someone deliberately distorts the truth, denies obvious facts, and twists situations so skillfully that you start questioning your perception of reality. Narcissists use this tactic to gain control over you because when you doubt yourself, you depend on them for the truth. That dependency gives them power, and that power keeps you stuck. It begins in small, almost unnoticeable ways. You recall a conversation one way, but they swear it never happened. You remember their hurtful words, but they insist you misunderstood. You bring up something they clearly said, and they respond with, "I never said that. You're making things up. You're too sensitive. You're imagining things." At first, you're confident in what you heard or saw. But after constant denial, you start second guessing yourself. Maybe they're right. Maybe you are overreacting. Maybe your memory isn't as sharp as you thought. That's exactly what they want. The moment you begin questioning your own judgment, they've gained psychological control. Gaslighting doesn't stop at denial. It escalates into rewriting reality. Narcissists manipulate timelines, conversations, and even emotions to suit their narrative. If they betray your trust, they'll twist the story until you somehow end up apologizing to them. If they lie, they'll accuse you of being paranoid or crazy for suspecting anything. Slowly, they build a version of reality where they are always right and you are always wrong. This constant erosion of your self-trust makes you emotionally dependent. You start believing you can't trust your memory, your feelings, or your instincts. So you look to them for validation. That's the trap. They position themselves as the keeper of truth, forcing you to rely on them for clarity about your own experiences. The psychological damage of gaslighting is profound. Over time, it doesn't just make you doubt situations. It makes you doubt yourself. You begin questioning whether your feelings are valid, whether your needs are reasonable, whether your thoughts even make sense. You shrink your voice to avoid conflict. You stop expressing your emotions because you're afraid they'll tell you you're wrong again. Gaslighting also creates a toxic cycle of confusion and self-blame. You replay conversations in your head over and over, trying to figure out if you misunderstood something. You seek reassurance, But instead of comfort, they accuse you of being insecure or unstable. The more you try to defend your reality, the more they attack it. Eventually, you feel emotionally exhausted, so you stop fighting back altogether. And that's when they have complete control. Another dangerous aspect of gaslighting is how it isolates you. Narcissists often make you doubt not just yourself, but everyone around you. If friends or family try to warn you about their behavior, they'll plant seeds of distrust. They're jealous of us. They don't understand you like I do. They're trying to ruin what we have. This forces you to pull away from your support system, leaving you even more dependent on the narcissist for validation and a sense of stability. Gaslighting is also deeply calculated. Narcissists know exactly when to use it and when to ease off. After an intense round of manipulation, they might temporarily shift back to affection and kindness, making you believe things are normal. Again, this push and pull keeps you emotionally hooked, constantly chasing the version of them you thought you knew in the beginning. Over time, gaslighting changes the way you see yourself. You lose confidence. You doubt your worth. You stop trusting your intuition, the very instinct that could protect you. And when you no longer trust yourself, you surrender control to them entirely, believing they know what's best, even when every fiber of your being screams otherwise. One of the most subtle yet dangerous tactics narcissists use to dominate and manipulate you is control through isolation. At first, it doesn't look like control at all. In fact, it often disguises itself as love, concern, or protection. They make it seem as though they only want what's best for you. But beneath the surface, every move is calculated. Every word is designed to separate you from your support system and make you completely dependent on them. It doesn't happen overnight. In the beginning, they act supportive of your friends, your family, and the people you love. They smile, they pretend to care, they even join gatherings and seem perfectly comfortable. But slowly, almost invisibly, the shift begins. One small comment here, one sarcastic remark there. Do they really understand you? I don't think they respect you like I do. I just don't feel comfortable around your family. They give me bad energy. Your friends are a bad influence. I don't like how they treat you. At first, you brush it off. But little by little, their voice becomes louder than your own intuition. They start planting seeds of doubt about the people closest to you. Their goal isn't to protect you, it's to control you. Once they sense resistance, they switch tactics. Instead of criticizing your friends or family directly, they make you feel guilty for spending time with them. I thought we had plans today, but you're choosing them instead. I just feel like you care about them more than me. I don't want to lose you. This guilt eats at you. Slowly, you cancel plans. You stop calling old friends as much. You start avoiding family gatherings because it's easier than dealing with their sulking, silent treatment, or endless accusations. Without even realizing it, you begin shrinking your world to accommodate their insecurities. And once they see that it's working, they tighten the grip even more. They start monitoring where you go, who you talk to, and how long you spend away from them. It's framed as concern, but make no mistake, it's control. They check your phone. They question your every move. They demand to know where you are, who you're with, and why. Then comes the next phase, rewriting your reality. Narcissists are masters at creating chaos and then convincing you they're the only ones who can protect you from it. They might lie to you about your friends, talking behind your back, or twist innocent situations into something sinister. They'll say things like, "They were laughing at you when you left the room. Your family doesn't really care about you. They just want to control you. I'm the only one who truly understands you." Over time, you start doubting everyone around you. You stop confiding in your loved ones. You stop reaching out for help because you believe the narcissist's version of reality. And the more isolated you become, the more power they gain. Isolation isn't just about cutting you off from people. It's about cutting you off from your identity. Your friends and family are the mirrors that reflect who you are, your values, your dreams, and your worth. By separating you from them, the narcissist slowly erases your sense of self. You become easier to control because you've lost the external reminders of who you used to be. And here's where it gets even more damaging. Once you're isolated, the narcissist becomes your entire world. They make themselves the source of your validation, your comfort, and your belonging. They create the illusion that they're the only one who truly cares for you. But that care comes with strings attached, endless rules, emotional manipulation, and conditional affection. If you try to reconnect with the people you love, they escalate the control. They may accuse you of betrayal, start fights to keep you home, or even sabotage your relationships by spreading lies about you to others. They want to ensure that you have nowhere to turn except back to them. And when you're fully dependent, they know you'll tolerate almost anything. The criticism, the gaslighting, the manipulation, the emotional neglect. Because by then, they've isolated you so completely that you believe you have no one else. Control through isolation is one of the most effective tools narcissists use, because it destroys your support network while making you feel like it was your choice all along. They don't force you to cut ties. They manipulate you into thinking it's what's best. They twist your emotions until the people who once gave you strength now feel like a threat. This tactic also feeds their ego. To a narcissist, controlling your time, your relationships, and your social world gives them a sense of power and superiority. By removing anyone who might challenge their influence, they eliminate competition and ensure they are the center of your universe. What makes this manipulation so dangerous is how gradual it is. You don't wake up one day suddenly cut off from everyone you love. It happens in stages, over weeks, months, sometimes even years. One by one, they dismantle the connections that keep you grounded, replacing them with dependency, fear, and doubt. One of the most cruel and psychologically devastating tactics narcissists use is what's known as silent punishment. Deliberately withdrawing affection, attention, and communication to manipulate your emotions and force you into submission. On the surface, it may seem harmless. After all, everyone needs space sometimes, right? But this isn't about space. This isn't about cooling off after an argument. This is weaponized silence. It's calculated, it's intentional, and it's designed to make you feel invisible, unloved, and powerless. In the early stages of the relationship, narcissists often shower you with constant affection and validation. They make you feel special, wanted, and deeply valued. That's how they hook you. You grow attached to the constant attention. It becomes your emotional oxygen. But once they know you're invested, they start using that same affection against you. Suddenly, without warning, they pull it away. No explanation, no closure, no conversation, just silence. It usually happens after you do something that challenges their ego. Something as small as expressing your opinion, setting a boundary, or questioning their behavior. Instead of resolving the issue through communication, they punish you by vanishing emotionally. They stop texting you back. They ignore your calls. They refuse to make eye contact. They act like you don't exist. And here's the dangerous part. They know exactly what this does to you. They know the silence makes you spiral into self-doubt. You replay every interaction in your head, trying to figure out what you did wrong. You start overanalyzing your words, your tone, your actions, desperate to find the mistake that triggered their withdrawal. You become consumed with anxiety because the human brain is wired to crave connection and clarity, and they're deliberately denying you both. This is psychological control at its finest. The silent punishment puts you in a position where you feel like the only way to fix the situation is to chase them. You apologize, even if you did nothing wrong. You beg for their attention. You compromise your boundaries to get back into their good graces. And every time you do, they learn one thing: silence works. Over time, this cycle conditions you to self-censor. You stop bringing up issues that bother you. You stop expressing your needs. You stop standing up for yourself, because deep down, you fear the punishment that follows. You become trapped in a constant state of emotional anxiety, always tiptoeing around their moods, trying to keep the peace, trying not to upset them, trying not to trigger another round of cold, calculated silence. This tactic is especially painful because it taps into one of the deepest human fears: abandonment. When someone you love suddenly withdraws affection without warning, your nervous system interprets it as a threat to your emotional safety. Your body floods with stress hormones. Your mind races, searching for answers. And in that heightened emotional state, you become vulnerable to manipulation. Narcissists exploit this vulnerability to reassert dominance in the relationship. They create chaos and then make you believe they're the only one who can restore harmony. After days or weeks of ignoring you, they eventually break the silence, but they return on their terms, not yours. They may act as if nothing happened, completely dismissing the pain they caused. Or they'll blame you, twisting the narrative so you end up apologizing for the very thing they did. In both cases, the outcome is the same. They've reestablished control, and you've learned that keeping them happy is the only way to avoid emotional exile. Another layer of silent punishment involves withdrawing physical affection. It's not just ignoring your messages or giving you the cold shoulder. It's withholding intimacy, hugs, kisses, and physical closeness as a way to destabilize you emotionally. They know you crave that connection, and by denying it, they make you feel unloved, rejected, and unworthy. This deepens your dependence on them, because when they finally reward you with affection again, the relief feels addictive. It's a psychological trap designed to make you crave their approval even more. In some cases, narcissists escalate this tactic by using triangulation during silent punishment. While ignoring you, they may suddenly give attention to someone else, a friend, a coworker, even a stranger online, just to provoke jealousy and insecurity. They want you to feel replaceable. They want you to believe their affection is conditional and can be given or taken at will. This pushes you into an even deeper cycle of chasing their validation and working harder to earn their love. What makes silent punishment so devastating is that it erodes your sense of self-worth over time. You start internalizing the belief that you're the problem, that you're difficult to love, that you somehow deserve this treatment. This constant self-blame slowly chips away at your identity, leaving you emotionally dependent on the very person causing your pain. And the more dependent you become, the easier it is for them to control every aspect of your life. Eventually, this tactic conditions you to fear emotional abandonment so deeply that you start anticipating their silence before it even happens. You learn to read every micro-expression, every shift in their tone, every subtle change in their behavior, just to avoid another emotional shutdown. You mold yourself into what they want you to be, not because you want to, but because the alternative, being emotionally erased, feels unbearable. And the narcissist knows this. That's why they weaponize silence with such precision. To them, it's not just about punishing you. It's about training you. It's about teaching you over and over again that your comfort, your needs, and your emotions are irrelevant unless they serve their ego. It's about making you believe that connection is a privilege they control, not a mutual experience built on respect and care. Silent punishment also creates an invisible hierarchy in the relationship. They position themselves at the top, untouchable, and unaccountable, while you're placed at the bottom, constantly seeking their approval. Every time they pull away, they reinforce the imbalance of power. Every time you chase them, they win. Every time you apologize just to end the silence, you hand them more control. This isn't a temporary disagreement. It's a deliberate psychological strategy designed to break your emotional resilience. And the longer it continues, the more it reshapes your behavior, your confidence, and your ability to trust your own perception of reality. Silent punishment is not just withholding words. It's withholding validation, love, and emotional safety. It leaves you questioning your worth, doubting your instincts, and feeling completely alone, even when you're right next to them. It's a slow dismantling of your identity, a systematic stripping away of your ability to stand on your own, and a calculated method to ensure that your happiness, your peace, and your emotional stability are always under their control,